Is Councillor Duran?
Yes, I am, Mayor Brown.
And is the deputy on?
Yes, I'm here, Your Worship.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, Councillor McKinnon, are you there too? Councillor McKinnon? Okay, he'll probably come on. If you do come on, just shout yay. Okay, land acknowledgement. In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that the land upon which we gather is unceded Mi'kmaq territory. Epiquet, Prince Edward Island, Mi'kma'ki is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. We pay our respects to the indigenous Mi'kma'ki people who have occupied this island for over 12,000 years, past, present, and future. Okay, call to order. I want to welcome Nick Wright. I think, Nick, is your father in by Teams? Are you there, Doug?
Yes, I am. I'm here, Mayor Brown.
Okay. Trevor, Councillor McKinnon, are you there with us? Okay. Okay. Approval of the agenda. Moved by Councillor Ramsey, seconded by Councillor Bernard. Okay. All in favor? Councillor Duran, yay, nay?
In favor?
Deputy Mayor?
In favor.
Okay. So, number 4 is discussion item presentation, proposal to establish a business improvement area, BIA, in the West Royalty Business Park and Biocommons Research Park. And this evening's meeting falls under the parameters laid out in our City of Charlottetown Business Improvement Area Bylaw. And I refer to section 6, subsection 6.1, where a group of business persons wish to establish a business association for the purpose of establishing and managing a BIA or a BID, Business Improvement District. Notice of that intent to establish the business association shall be publicly advertised twice weekly for the 3 consecutive weeks, which did happen. 6.2, subsection 6.2, the public meeting, which is tonight, shall be on the date at the time and place published for the purpose of discussing the initiative in an open forum. So no decisions will be made here. This is an open forum to listen to the proponent, and if there's anyone that would like to support it or speak contrary to it, we just ask that you use the mic that is in front of you. And when you do use that mic, could you please just give your name, where you're from, and we allow X number of minutes for your presentation. But Nick, I think we'll turn it over to you. And Doug, you're there, so both of you are on.
All right, I think I'll pass it to my father there for a moment, but before we get started.
Thanks, Nick. Good evening, City Council and Mayor Brown. I'll do a quick introduction, and then Nick will do a presentation on the background of our proposed BIA for the West Royalty Business Park and the Biocommons Research Park. So on behalf of the West Royalty Business and Bioscience Inc., we want to thank everybody for the opportunity to speak here tonight and present our background information on what it is that we're proposing for our proposed business improvement area for the West Royalty Business Park and the Biocommons Research Park. So I've been a business owner in the West Royalty Business Park for over 30 years. I've owned a number of properties there. We've watched the park grow over 30 years. The West Royalty Business Park was established around 40 years ago. As the provincial government divested of the majority of the property in the park was kind of left to its own. Hasn't been a lot of infrastructure changes. a lot of things have changed in terms of size of trailers, tractor trailers coming and going, the streets, the infrastructure, the lighting. A lot of things have gone into disrepair. And we simply would like to see infrastructure improved. We'd like to see the safety, access, egress on and off of Upton Road be improved. And a lot of other initiatives that we think would benefit the owners of the Bio Commons and also the West Realty Business Park. So we have a presentation, and I'll let Nick do that presentation now, and then, of course, we'll take any questions that anybody may have, okay? Thank you.
Thanks, Doug. Nick, you can take it over.
Thank you very much. So those of you that caught our presentation at committee, this may be a bit of a refresher for you, but we'll be going through the whole thing again. All right, so good evening. So myself and my father there we represent the West Royalty Business and Bioscience Incorporated, and we're here today to make the case for the founding of a business improvement area that covers both the West Royalty Business Park and the Biocommons Research Park on either side of the Upton Road. Okay, so first off, what is a business improvement area? A business improvement area is an organization composed of commercial property owners and tenants that have banded together with the help of municipal government to create the best possible outcomes for their area. It's important to note that BIAs are self-financed, accountable to municipal government, and, very importantly, self-governed by their members through a board selected by and from those members. Currently, Charlottetown only has a single BIA, which would be Downtown Charlottetown Incorporated, but there are hundreds of these organizations across the country. In Halifax, they have 9 of them. There's 15 in Calgary, 22 in Vancouver, and 84 in Toronto. Downtown's Atlantic, which is an umbrella group representing business improvement areas in our region, has a total of 62 members from the 4 Atlantic provinces, and that's only accounting for the groups that have chosen to join their organization. In short, we believe that Charlottetown has room for more. Here you can see a map of our proposed area, as well as some relevant general info about why we feel that it's well suited to being organized into a BIA. We have within that orange area that you see there, over 150 acres of land, over 75 businesses employing over 1,000 islanders with a total annual payroll of over $50 million, a total annual property tax contribution of over $80 million, and a whopping $750 million plus in annual sales. Most importantly, though, the businesses in that area mainly focus on manufacturing, processing, R&D, technology, bioscience, and commercial business. We believe that the nature of these companies sets them apart from the consumer-facing and retail businesses which make up most of the commerce in downtown and uptown Charlottetown. Our members have a heavy focus on business-to-business and export-focused goals, and as such, we have unique needs that we feel warrant their own organization. As for how we plan to structure the organization, 2 principles we keep repeating in the early stages that we're going through right now are bottom-up and accountable. Strategic decisions will be made by our membership, for our membership, through an elected board, and through regular membership meetings. These membership decisions are in turn kept accountable to the City of Charlottetown through a municipal representative on our board, the municipal bylaw, which is governing organizations like ours, and the reporting requirements that that bylaw mandates. So let's talk about funding. First and foremost, we won't cost the taxpayer a thing. Our BIA will be 100% financed through a levy based on assessed property values of our member. Based on the available data for our BIA, we've calculated the levy of approximately 18 cents for every $100 of assessed value should be the right amount to cover our year 1 operating budget. This, of course, is going to be subject to membership approval and to the meetings that we'll be having with the businesses should this presentation pass council. But what exactly do we plan to do? As noted, all of our strategic goals are set by the membership via the board and through our AGM. However, we've got a pretty solid idea of some operational areas that we plan to present for approval, namely capital projects, shared services, organizational support, network building, and government relations. By forming a more coherent block, our BIA would be well placed to help coordinate public and private funding streams, to upgrade aging infrastructure, and to proactively suggest appropriate improvements. We've listed a couple of ideas here for things like our electrical grid, the entry to and from Upton, which currently represents a safety hazard, electric car charging stations, police EWOX boxes, things of that nature. For shared services coordination, currently there are a high number of goods and services that our members are all purchasing individually. An organization like ours would be capable of coordinating that purchasing power and using it to negotiate preferential pricing on goods and services like those we have listed here. It's our hope that after a couple of years of doing this, we will more than make up for that levy that we are planning to charge. While both sides of the Upton Road were originally set up to act as an incentive for businesses to operate in Charlottetown, currently there's no one doing the organizational work to sustain that incentive. Our BIA would be able to help organize our area to increase that incentive and to provide information for businesses, for the general public, to support our members, and to assure an efficient operating environment. We've listed some examples here, but I suspect that this is one area that we can really shine once we've got started. As for network building, BIAs are by definition built to connect businesses. As we noted at the top of this presentation, there are hundreds of organizations like ours across the country, and all of them are looking to connect with one another. This is made easier through regional umbrella organizations like Downtown Atlantic, which in turn interact with larger national organizations. Essentially, there is a ready-made national business network for us to tap into. There are also a number of business parks just like ours across the island that focus on industrial and business-to-business sales that could be organized into BIAs to help strengthen the island economy as a whole. And aside from all of this, we also plan to form a robust network of public, private, and shared governance organizations that we will be using for the benefit of our members. As for government relations, forming a BIA gives our members a more coherent voice in dealing with all three levels of government. As we noted, the businesses in our area provide a unique economic perspective that often takes a sideline to the seasonal anchor industries that form the backbone of the Prince Edward Island economy. We plan to work with government on matters that affect our members, whether that's consulting here at committee, surveying our membership on changes to laws and regulations which affect them, or partnering on public projects. We feel that forming a BIA makes interacting with the government much more efficient for all parties involved. In conclusion, we think that organizing the businesses on both sides of the Upton Road into a business improvement area would be a great benefit to both our membership and the city. To our members, we can provide collective purchasing power, a coordinated voice with government, direct input to and from the city through our municipal board rep, networking opportunities both outside the province and with existing island organizations, a formal organization to focus on long-term projects which fall outside the day-to-day of our members, and a centralized portal of information and resources for our members and for the public at large. To the city, the most obvious benefit would be an increase in tax revenue proportionate to the success of our membership. If we succeed, the city succeeds. Furthermore, the businesses in our area create well-paying, highly skilled, non-seasonal employment for the residents of Charlottetown, which help provide stability for your constituents. But in general, we believe that having an organized BIA makes working with government on everything from consultation to data generation to being a stable partner in capital projects much more efficient for everyone involved. We appreciate you giving us the time to present here today, and we'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Nick. Doug, do you want to add any commentary to Nick's presentation?
No, I think that's good, Philip. I just want to add, we haven't had a lot of time to get around to all of the potential members in both parks. And again, I just want to emphasize that tonight is a step in the process of forming the BIA. And it is important that we communicate with all the members, get the members their feedback in terms of what we can do for all members going forward. I know that the West Royalty Business Park is a more mature park than the Biocommons Park. And the first question would be, well, our Biocommons Park is pretty new. It's in pretty good shape, but this opportunity I guess the Biocommons Park has an opportunity to look across the street to the West Royalty Business Park and see what could happen in 10, 15, 20 years if the Biocommons Park is not proactive. And we have an opportunity here now. Unfortunately, the West Royalty Business Park is in a reactive position, but the Biocommons Park, if they choose to become a member, would obviously have an opportunity to be proactive and control the destiny of that park going forward. So, but again, I want to emphasize that it's our intention to get around and meet with each potential member one-on-one and speak to make sure that everybody is clear on the objectives of the proposed BIA.
Thank you, Doug. I grew up knowing that place out there is the West Royalty Industrial Park that was created by the Comprehensive Development Act. And our family business did a lot of work out there. So the mic is open. Wayne, could you just make sure that the mic is on? Could we just, and I'm just going to repeat that this is a public meeting regarding the proposed business improvement area. It's a public meeting. No decisions will be made here tonight. If you wish to speak, please begin by stating your full name. And if you're speaking on behalf of a business or organization, please state the business, organization name, and your role. Please direct all your comments through the chair. Keep remarks respectful and related to the proposed business improvement area. A time limit of 5 minutes is applied to ensure everyone has an opportunity to speak. Please note that your comments will form part of the public record. Thank you.
Test.
So it's open mic time.
Good evening. Scott Doncaster from Charlottetown. I work for BioVectra. So just on the proposal, what I'm wondering of is who is currently responsible for the infrastructure in the park? And I'm not sure why we would need, with the tax revenue, the employee base, the revenue in general, the activity in the park, why it would take a BIA to maintain the park. It has to fall under some jurisdiction for roads, under infrastructure, egress access, and we've made requests within the last couple of years and made points. And there's been no movement. And it's, if you were to ask people that have been there 30 years, they may even say, we don't know, because at one point it was the province and the fire went to a central panel and then that was removed. But with the power that's in that park, why do we need a BIA and the extra tax? And the tax is just funding the association for the BIA. It's not funding any of the infrastructure. So I would assume there'd be additional levies to support whatever large programs are there. Those are my basic questions, just fundamental. I don't understand why it's gotten to this point. And if anybody wants to wonder, go drive down Hillstrom Avenue at 40 kilometers an hour tonight and see if you come out with a car at the other end.
Yeah.
It is horrendous, and it's, things shouldn't have to get that way, right? So anyway, thank you.
Nick, do you want to, Wayne or CAO, but I'll start with Nick.
So I would say that you're absolutely right, that the jurisdiction is there and that this is the responsibility of other bodies. But unfortunately, like you said, I did drive down Hillstrom Avenue at 60 the other day. Unfortunately, I had to get out and check my car because it is in that kind of shape. And it is in that kind of shape because there hasn't been anybody necessarily looking after our needs. Things tend to fall, whether it's with the province, whether it's with the feds, or whether it's with the city. Things do tend to get by the wayside. We're not representing the anchor industries of the island economy. And as much as it is a tax, in many ways, a levy is seen as a tax, this is going to fund a business association. This is going to be the members and not, this isn't going to be the government that's doing this. This is going to be our membership, and we are going to be making sure that we are taking care of our needs. And the other thing is that we will not be charging any levies for special projects. We will be looking to fund through all three levels of government through private partnerships. When doing the research for this, one of the best examples that I got of a BIA in the area doing something like this was the downtown library. So when Downtown Charlottetown Incorporated wanted to finance the library, they did a number of steps that didn't involve using any money of their own and did not involve using any of their members' money, so much as setting up side organizations and putting the organizational structures in place to secure that funding, both privately and from government, as well as for making sure that the project was something that was kept on top of and was completed.
Big feather in their hat for that project. Wayne, did you want to add anything? Is that good?
Your worship, I don't have much to add. I would admit that there probably is a little bit of murkiness, at least at surface level, in terms of the infrastructure and who owns what and who's responsible for what. As was indicated earlier, there was a point in time when the provincial government owned the park, but I believe that the city has a responsibility within the park boundaries as we speak today.
Correct. But we don't own the road that runs between the two, the east side and the west side. The Upton Road is a provincial roadway. Okay. Please come to the mic.
Good evening, everyone. It's great to be here. Lauren Ledwell. I'm with the PEI Bio Alliance, the CEO effective September, taking over from Rory Francis. It's nice to meet you all and to be here today. And thank you to Nick and Doug for the presentation today. The PEI Bio Alliance, we're here representing a number of our member organizations, one of which is BioVectra, who you heard from. But we have members that have over 750,000 square feet of space and purpose-built space in the West Royalty Biocommons and Business Park. And so really today we're here to listen primarily to the proposal. We did get a presentation from Nick and Doug, I think before Christmas, if I'm not mistaken. And we've been socializing that with our members and are preparing a response, part of which, we were keen to hear the presentation today, but we'll prepare a response on behalf of our members in advance of the February 6th deadline. I think, one of the things that we would like to point out, first of all, Nick, like the comment on safety, I think is not to be remiss. I mean, that's we've heard that, I think, from most of our members, that there are safety concerns and those need to be addressed. I think the point that was just made on who has sort of responsibility and accountability and clarity of that would be really helpful, I think, for everybody involved in this discussion. And then I'd say, like, the other point, we're in an interesting geopolitical situation right now with most of our member organizations having a large export footprint. And so the additional levy of 18 cents on $100 per square foot of property value is quite substantial. And it's something that I think, our members are feeling some grief with, us included, because we have the biomanufacturing incubator and the bioaccelerator that's actively being constructed. So those are a couple of points that we'll make sure that are referenced in our letter. I'll just ask my colleague Jason and Bobby Joe if there's anything missing. Those would be the couple of points that I wanted to raise. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. Again, the mic is open. We'd like to hear from business owners, advocates, right there. Just give us your name and who you're with. Thank you.
Everybody, my name's Jason Cleaver-Smith. I'm with the PEI Bio Alliance. Thank you for your time today and for allowing us to have this information session. I think the thing that I'd just like some clarity on is I read through the bylaws on the city website. I'm not clear on the process and how the steps that take this process forward and the requirements that city have to support or to defer a decision on such an initiative. So some clarity around that would be really helpful for myself.
Wayne, do you want to take that and you're going to reference the bylaw, Wayne, or other documents?
Thank you, Your Worship. As you alluded to earlier, we do have a business improvement bylaw, which guides this process in a number of ways, but in this instance specifically around the request to establish a new BI entity. So there's a few layers to the process. So essentially we started with receiving the request, which went to our legal counsel. And from there, it came to the Economic Development, Tourism, and Cultural Development Committee. Generally, there was support from that committee to advance on to a public meeting, respecting the fact that at the end of the day, it would be a council decision. As the mayor indicated earlier, the municipalities was required to advertise for 3 consecutive weeks with at least 2 advertisements during that process. We sent a letter of notice to all those entities within the jurisdiction of the proposed new BIA, which brings us to tonight's public meeting. We're here to receive information, as the mayor indicated. From this particular meeting, the CAO and/or their designate will bring a recommendation back to council. And that timeline would happen 30 days after the recommendation is presented to council. Post-meeting tonight, there will be a window for further feedback to be received up until February 6th, Friday, February the 6th. And then ultimately, council will make a decision taking into consideration the request, but also the feedback we received tonight and any additional feedback that it comes post-meeting.
But the recommendation that you or the CAO will bring back to council will be to create a BIA, not to create a tax, surtax. That'll be up to the BIA, correct?
Your worship, the recommendation to council will come either directly from the CAO or their designate. The recommendation would be, as you indicated, to establish a BIA. However, the BIA would need to establish its own bylaws, its board of governance, as well as its rates and any other governance models that would apply to the organization.
Thank you. Just come right back up, Lauren.
I guess I just wanted to make a clarity, have a question for clarity on the bylaw. So the bylaw that I see printed online is an office consolidation version, and it was an amendment as of May 13th, 2025. And so I think it would be good for those affected to have the full bylaw, if possible, and the original version, so we can sort of do a thorough review. The bylaw is from the posted online is from the City of Charlottetown BIA, and so I assume that we're sort of looking at the same bylaw provision for this proposed BIA. And then just one other point of clarification is in the definition section 5.4, the business association means 6 or more business persons. And so would that, when does the 6 or more business persons stipulation come into effect? Is that after the approval takes place, or is it part of the application?
That's under Section 8, under the Board of Directors.
Okay.
Yeah, and what did you say? Trace McLean is our clerk responsible for minutes and meetings?
That particular bylaw is the full bylaw that was
Okay.
on our website. That's the current bylaw.
Okay. So this is the version in full.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Nick?
And I can speak a little bit better to the governance structures and the board that was referenced there as well too. So, well, the letter of the law is exactly as you stated it there. What we will be doing immediately following this meeting, in between that period, will be to be meeting with the other members of the park and to go over the governance structures that we have in place so far. We've drafted a set of draft bylaws. We are in the process of putting a board together, but as we go forward, that's a process that's going to be finalized with the input of our membership.
Thank you.
Sorry, Your Worship. One more quick
Just-
question. So I'm struggling to get the timelines in order here. So we're February the 3rd just now, February 6th for written confirmation. But I think the proponents still need to go out and speak with the business owners in that area, which is a tall order even for Nick, and I know Doug's off elsewhere at the moment. But how do we get that information and that open dialogue with the members in that park? And we've done that with the bioscience side of that equation, but I know there are some other representatives here, I think, yep, our friends from ADL. How does that timeline stack up with regards to being able to have a wholesome discussion and come to an appropriate conclusion in what is a very short time period?
That's a question for Nick.
All right, so over the course of the next 2 months, we've already started the process with some of the bigger players, so that very much includes all the folks that are behind me here at the moment, although ADL we have tried, but have not been able to get a hold of yet, so I will be collecting some information for you after this meeting. But the process will be, over the next 2 months, we are going to be spending as much time as we can meeting with all of the businesses. We're hoping to get 100% of them. Whether or not that's possible, we do not know, but we will be calling an AGM after we have all of those things in place, after we have our governance structures in place, after we have our board in place. We'll be calling an AGM for the general membership to finalize everything from their side and to make sure that all of the members are okay with that. And that will be required to follow all of the laws laid out in the Not-for-Profit Act federally, as well as all of the laws that will be laid down in our bylaw, which are also governed by that federal law.
Mic's open. Just name, business.
Good evening, thank you. Dave Rempel, we're Delta Distributors on Skirman Street. We appreciate having this meeting, this discussion, and I'm glad to have more information presented tonight. Thank you. We've been there for 35 years, so hopefully our vote counts for a little bit extra. We're very pleased to be there, and it adds a lot of prestige to our business, so we're thankful for everything the park has already provided us with, so we appreciate that. My point is that right now our property tax is 8% of our income, which is fairly high. We are a small business, so our concern is the cost involved, and so if it did come to a vote, we would probably have to vote no. But appreciate the input, and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Nick?
If I could respond, that is exactly the number one concern that we expected a lot of businesses to have, especially given this inflationary time period that we're going through, as well as with the provincial government and the deficit here. We expect that taxes maybe in the future uncertain. So one of the things that we want to be able to assure our membership is that we will be providing value for the costs that they're paying. One of the easiest ways that we can do that, just right off the bat in our year one, to sort of demonstrate our value, will be through essentially a buyer's club, where being able to use the combined buying power of everyone within that park, it is our hope to be able to get some preferential rates on shared services, snow removal, heating oil, electricity, that sort of thing, and to be able to negotiate as many of those as possible to drive your bottom line, to make sure that your bottom line is impacted as little as possible.
Thank you. Mr. Wayne Long, Manager of Economic Development.
Your worship, just back to Mr. Cleaver-Smith's last comments, I think it's important to recognize that there's really two processes here. So one is a request to grant permission from the municipality for the BIA to establish. That doesn't mean that the city will interfere or determine the next steps in the BIA establishing. So it's up to the membership if they actually form and the governance model that they would move forward with. So I guess in short, council is simply making a decision whether a BIA can establish. Beyond that, the business would fall to the jurisdiction and its members themselves.
And correct me if I'm wrong, every year when we pass the budget, every year that we pass the budget, we do have to include that 18% 18-cent surtax as part of the budget document. It has to be passed by resolution every year. Okay? Mic's open. Can we just
On
Yeah, I know.
that, it's just on that question, does it require so the process, I understand that part, but then once they meet, they decide their government structure, they have their AGM, then does it come back to us? Kind of going back to about the process part, does after they've done their preparatory work, does that come back to us for approval, or is it just they've agreed on what it is?
Wayne, you want to clarify?
Yeah, thank you, Councillor, through the mayor. Essentially, it's my understanding that the city's role is to grant permission to establish, and then the organization from there would proceed forward, again, with their governance model, ensuring that there's support from the membership, whether they proceed or not.
Okay.
Councilor
Richard has his
Thank you, Your
mic
Worship.
on. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Wayne. I did have a question. I think you might have addressed it a little bit, but, excuse me. And it was more around, like, what percentage of the business are required to
kind of participate in order to effectively have a membership. And I guess what you had indicated, our role here is more to say, can they establish a BIA? Not so much what is the membership, but I'll ask the question anyways, I guess. And then what happens to those businesses who do not participate for one reason or another? Do they feel like then they're boxed out in the way of which the benefits that may come to them as being in a BIA? You talked about capital projects, shared services. How do you avoid, like I might look at that and say, I won't participate in this, but I still benefit from capital project stuff because it's all around me. How do I get to use the roads, I get to do. So how does that happen for those businesses? And I think we heard the gentleman in the back there who might, respectively decline based on additional costs to the levy. Is there going to be a negative impact to those who don't participate? And I don't know enough about BIA membership in order to answer that or to have a knowledge on that.
Nick or
I'll
Wayne?
actually let
Go,
Wayne
Nick? Wayne?
Usually everybody's involved.
All right, so what I would say to that then,
Guys, we'll just wait for an answer.
what I would say to that then is that with the BIA, it is the area. So it's like downtown Charlottetown in its structure that way, in that we are representing the businesses of that area. So they do have the option. They will all be members, unfortunately. There is not going to be an opt-out option necessarily. It needs to be a unified front. That's the way that the law is drafted now as well, too. So I don't think that there's much wiggle room there. With that being said, we're not going to be the kind of organization that people feel boxed out of. We're very much making a lot of efforts in the way that we're structuring this organization, both in our bylaws and our governance structures, as well as in the way we're structuring things like our website that's to come, and the way that we're going to be structuring how we're doing business is we want to make sure that everyone is included and that everyone is given the ability to have their say. And that very much includes being able to dissolve the BIA if at the end of the day the membership comes together and takes a vote to say they do not think this is a good idea. They are at any point able to call based on like I said, the laws that are laid out in the Not-for-Profit Act and the laws that will be laid out in our bylaws. They will be able to call a meeting and say, nope, this wasn't a good idea. So that's the option there. But unfortunately, no, there will not be an opt-out.
Mr. Doncaster, is it?
Scott Doncaster again.
Go ahead, Don.
Just to clarify, I think the bylaw says 6 businesses can get together to form a BIA. But just to be clear, that once they establish and the geographical area is approved, everybody inside of that geographical area is charged the levy. It's not, because it's paid through your property tax according to your area, not paid directly to the BIA. So it's a little, and that has, so every year council has to approve any changes to the area, the budget, and the levy. That's in your bylaw.
The area and the
If they
budget.
change the area.
Yeah.
So if there's any minor change to the area, that's
Correct.
government.
If they add or delete. Nick?
I would note too that our membership will have to vote on that as well too. So we're structuring it in such a way that will be, if there's any change to the levy or there's any change to the area, that will be something that the membership will have to vote on.
Okay.
Jason Cleaver-Smith, PI Biolines. I struggle a little bit with 6 businesses being able to convene this through the appropriate structures and the process that has been described tonight. But it would take 2/3 of those 70 businesses, would it, to nullify it? So you can, see by the attendance in the room, there's not 70 businesses here tonight, but that seems to be a little bit one-sided, and that's maybe just a comment on process, etc. But my comment to council is, this is PEI. Okay, I'm from away, but lived here for a little while now, and even I know there's 2 degrees of separation for getting things done. And most of us in this room have some form of a relation here, and if there is a commitment between the members in this room here and council and the province for actually addressing those safety concerns, which I think are absolutely spot on and are a big concern for all the businesses in that area and the quality of the roads there, then it's not hard to reach out to the relevant councillor or to the mayor or to the CAO or to the province, and there are mechanisms available for us to do that operate both at the individual company level within the park through associations like the PEI BioAlliance, that already have conduits and ways of working with different levels of government, so be it federal, provincial, or municipal. So, if there's a will, I'm sure there's always a way to make things happen. Do we need another entity, and do we need another tax layer in order to support that? And I think my message to Doug and to Nick would be those benefits to the members need to be really, really clear. And you also have to recognize the diversity of those businesses, even though they are bioscience businesses. They are all regulated very differently. They all have very different needs, and their supply chains are completely different, as well as their customers. So I'll maybe just pause there, but that's the beauty
No,
of PEI.
good points, good points.
No, and while we do plan on leaving the supply chains and the customers very much to the businesses themselves in their day-to-day, we do feel, and while there is a very large diversity of businesses up there, we do feel that they do all share a certain level of commonality as well too, that does provide us with some areas that we can work for, and some areas that we can work to save some money for as well too. Like I said, on shared services, on any number of things there, and through our government relations work as well too.
So the budget in section 9, subsection 2, the business association shall present the budget for approval at its annual meeting. So it's not just the 6 members of the board that run it. There will be an annual meeting every year to look at the budget and also the rate, correct?
And to look at the board and to look at the structure of the organization itself. And in
the
order
rate.
to finalize this organization as well, we will have to pass a vote on the same footing as we would have to pass a vote in order to be dissolved.
Another question, sir?
Just
Go
follow
right
up,
ahead.
yep. So just again, for my clarity, I'll just use numbers, fictitious numbers here. If you indicated there was 40 businesses there, okay, 75, and only requires 6 of them to meet the threshold to be a part of the BIA, we as council here are agreeing whether or not they can go ahead under that pot, but as long as there's 6 businesses on top of that, or that are in on that. So if, 69 of them or whatever it was decided they did not want to participate in that, you're telling me that they're involved regardless of the fact that because they met the threshold of 6, and
Absolutely
we as
not.
council approved it?
Absolutely not. I mean, first off, the 6 is for the council approval, but we'll still need to actually put the organization together. I mean, the council is basically approving our ability to move forward at this point.
Okay.
We still need to talk to all of those businesses. We still need to form a not-for-profit the same way any other not-for-profit would, and we have to follow a set of rules that are set out in federal law.
Okay. And I'm just trying to drive to the fact that if I'm going to support this type of thing, I want to make sure that I'm not supporting it for 6 people and not 59 or 69 others. And then you can't undo what we've done other than going through this process of a vote of the membership to demolish it based on 2/3. The example of 2/3 didn't want it over the 1/3. Why would we go down that pathway? So if I know right now that the vast majority of them don't want that in there, then would we not want to have that information up front?
We very much want to have that information up front, and I can tell you
Or
now
we
that
make
as
a
someone who is planning on living and working in Charlottetown for the rest of my life here, I am not moving forward with a BIA with 6 people when there's another
Okay.
40 businesses there. So
and
not
I'm just
only
trying to
are we
understand.
required by law to do that, my own morals would not allow me to do
Okay,
that.
I'm just trying to understand like a little bit of the logic behind it and some of the rationale for my.
The 6 people number is coming from your bylaw.
Sure,
not
I
from
get
any of
that,
our
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you- thank you
again,
for that.
the bylaws, to have a general meeting, there will be a quorum, there'll be a number for the quorum, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, and that's all that would be
50%
laid out
plus 1
in
is minimum. but we're allowed
any
to set it at
nonprofit
2/3.
organization. Councilor Ramsey.
Thank you very much, Nick, for your presentation, and everyone for being here. Yeah, just to sort of piggyback on Justin's comments on Councilor Matart. So that means when you, 6, like these numbers are throwing everybody off, that you need 6 to get it going. And what happens if everyone else does not want it? Like, does the BIA stop right there, or do you just keep moving ahead? Like I'm the same as Justin, and just trying to get it all straight in my head there.
Councilor
Because you got
Mattar.
6, and then you have 69 to say no, for example.
Well, if we have 6 people that say yes and 69 that say no, we do not have an organization. There's nowhere to release that money to. There's no possible way that we could benefit from that. And essentially, if the odds are that much against us there, if the numbers are that much against us there, we don't have much of a business association if we don't have any businesses behind us.
Well, Councillor Bernard, Councillor Twill, and Councillor Brown were around when this BIA was created, DCI, and the room was full with business owners and operators, and the annual meeting did lay out board of directors, and I attended them for the 3 years I was on council from 2003 to 2006. Okay, any other questions?
Yep.
Councillor Bernard.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just quickly, so my understanding is from after this meeting, it'll go back to the CAO or a designate, and the CAO will have a written report, and a recommendation will come from that report to council. So I assume that the CAO is going to get the feedback when Nick says he's going to be going, talking to all the different businesses and seeing where they are, assuming that information will come back to our CAO?
Well, the information is supposed to go to your CAO here, the clock has started, as I understand it here, a couple months back when we did the first one there. But when we're having these meetings, one of the first things we will be telling everyone is exactly how to put their input into that, whether it's for or against. We want to make sure that everything that we're doing here is above board, and we want to make sure there is as much participation at every level of this process as we can possibly garner.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Councillor Twill.
Again, just trying to understand the process. When we first heard the proposal, it was brought to the Economics Development and Tourism Committee. So I guess from it internally, why wouldn't the recommendation come from the Economic Development and Tourism Committee is my mic's on?
Yeah.
Sorry?
It's on.
It's in the bylaw.
It's in the bylaw. So,
BIA bylaw. It's in
BIA
part of one of your
bylaws.
bylaws.
So it doesn't come from the Economic Development and Tourism Committee. So then the question begins, why at the outset was a presentation made to the Economic Development and Tourism Committee if in fact a recommendation, once the process has been vetted through, the membership in the West Royalty Industrial Park, they got to go through a process, consult with their membership, to look at, see who's in agreement, who's not in agreement, and then, they're ready to move forward. So it seems weird that, from my perspective, that it started here at the standing committee level of economic development, tourism, and special events. We heard the presentation from Doug Wright and Nicholas Wright. They made the presentation here. That set the stage for the public meeting to take place. It's advertised over a 3-week period. I think Nick has outlined quite effectively the process. Questions are being answered here tonight. He's made it quite clear. We're going back to the membership, provided we approve that step in the process. It's not so much what Nick and Doug has to do, it's much as what takes place internally here at City Hall. So I guess that's the process, that's a process. I just find that kind of peculiar that presentation was made to the Economic Development, Tourism, and Special Events Committee, yet we're not making the recommendation. I find that kind of intriguing, to say the least.
No,
Now, having said all of that, I certainly understand the process thus far. I appreciate the fact that the folks are here tonight asking the relevant questions. And I think Nick and Doug have been very candid, very upfront, open and transparent as to, what the goals are. There's the whole governance model, what the opportunities may or may not exist, whether it's infrastructure, new expansion, a lot of different needs. If you look at the industrial park over the last 40 years versus the bioscience And of course, one thing that we've learned from the bioscience is that the city does provide tax incentives to the bioscience. We just approved that not too long ago. That was a 10-year agreement.
Second one.
Pardon me?
Second one.
Yeah, I know, but we expanded. We went from 5 to 10.
No, both are for 10 years.
What? Okay, so nonetheless, we just did that recently on a presentation that was made by Rory Francis. Rory was here a couple of times and he made that presentation. So there's that whole dynamic at play as well. But, you know, I certainly look forward to you know, what the membership has to say when you have your internal meeting. It's an education for sure. There's some good attributes, there's no doubt about it. I understand the tax concern. You know, taxes are a major issue when it comes to business. And some people think just because you have a good-sized business that, oh, well, you know, you're able to handle it. No, not necessarily so. Taxes play, sometimes it plays a critical role in whether or not a business stays status quo or whether it expands or says, you know, we're going to move to a different community or a different province, or we're not going to look at the projections and do the things that we wanted to do, the plan that we had 5 or 10 years that we set out. We're not going to do that now. So I think the way I categorize this whole thing, it's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. It's good to have the discussions, and regardless of what happens, I see a lot of good things come out of this process.
Okay.
And I want to congratulate Nick and Doug and the folks for being here tonight.
Yep.
I'm very pleased with how open things are thus far. Thank you.
Councilor Bernard, you're chair of the Economic Development Committee.
Yeah, no, and Councilor Twill is a member of it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to let Councilor Twill know, so the Economic Development, Tourism and Arts Culture Committee, our committee that they made the presentation to, we would have to make a recommendation to go to a public meeting.
Which we did, yeah.
Which is what we did to be able to get to this point. So now, from here after this public meeting, then according to our BIA Act, then it'll go back to the CAO or his designate to make a
BIA
report and a
bylaw
recommendation to council.
So there's no.
I know traditionally,
Yeah.
yeah, but this
So
is a
there's-
BIA
so
Act.
there's no, let's say they go ahead with it. Let's go in the hypothetical. They go ahead with it. Recommendation comes from CAO. So is there a vote of council?
Yes.
There is a
Yes.
vote of
Report
council?
comes- A report
Great, the
comes from
BIA.
council from
Okay, that's
CAO.
fine.
Yeah.
But it does not come back to the Economic Development, Tourism, and Events Committee.
No.
No.
Wayne, you want to verify that?
Not according to the BIA Act.
No. Go ahead, Wayne.
Your worship, similar to what Council Bernard just mentioned, so the on-ramp for the file to advance to a public meeting came through Economic Development. As you're aware, the BIA bylaw falls to the terms of reference of Economic, Tourism, and Culture Committee, so that's why it started there. And then the BIA bylaw clearly spells out that a recommendation would come to council for a vote from the CAO and/or their designate.
Correct. Okay. Any other questions? Mic's open.
If I can add one comment, Mayor Brown
Go
and
ahead there,
Wayne. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, loud and clear.
I believe and I could be wrong, but my interpretation of the bylaw is that the next step, once we form the board of directors, and we have one-on-one consultation with all the potential BIA members in both areas, that we need to come back, regardless if the BIA gets approved through this process. That is only another step in the process. We would need to come back with a report to council that would approve the formation of our governance and the levy that is agreed on or not agreed on by membership. So I think there is, I could be wrong on that, but I think the way that Wayne explained it was that if we get approval on this BIA, then we go internally and we have our meetings with the BIA members. And then if everybody agrees to it, or let's say the 6 board members, 5 of which are from independent businesses within the BIA boundaries, and the 6th is a representative of city council, we still need to come back to council to have a vote on the approval of the levy, because that would be like an annual review and report that gets voted on each year by council. It'd be the first one.
Okay. Wayne, I'm going to subsection 6.5. Council shall determine whether or not to approve the establishment or continuance of a BIA. So that's what will come back to us to vote on. From the feedback and the information that we get from, I think it's BIA feedback at charlottetown.ca is one of the portals we're using. Do you want to add anything else to it?
Your Worship, you're correct. The other thing that I would add here, and perhaps this is what is being referred to, once BIA is established on an annual basis, there has to be an official request to set the rates, and in order for the amounts to be included within the city corporation's annual budget.
Right, that's what I'm referencing, Wayne, and that I believe would have to happen as the first step to the initial, and the first year of the BIA, right? And then each subsequent year after that on an annual basis.
Your Worship, that is correct. So if the BIA should move forward, if there's an agreement to establish beyond the city corporation, if council does permit the BIA to proceed, the first piece of business would be an official request of council to set the rates and to include the item within our budget.
Right, right.
Mic's open. No, and thank you thank you very much for that acknowledgement. But I know there was a comparison, Nick, to the Burnside Industrial Park with a BIA?
Initially, that had been a question that we'd gotten at the Economics and Tourism Committee presentation that we had done, yes. And Burnside Industrial Park, just outside of Halifax in Burnside, is a good example of an industrial BIA, and it's been sort of one of the ones that we've been looking at initially. Some of their ideas would be things that would be great to implement here in Charlottetown. Some don't necessarily do as well on a one-for-one transfer, but there are a large number of these sorts of organizations. We've just been using Burnside as sort of our go-to example in these sorts of meetings, just because it's close and sort of it does translate a little bit better.
Mr. Doncaster.
Scott Doncaster. I'm not aware of the Burnside Business Improvement District, and we have operations in that park. What I will say is, from City of Charlottetown and site selection standpoint, the taxes in Burnside are lower than the taxes in the West Royalty Industrial Park, and they will be even much lower again if there's a levy. So from a site selection and competition standpoint, the city is in competition. Industrial parks are engines for cities. People come in from out. They are engines. They should, I don't see a lot of examples of business improvement, or the need for business improvement districts for an industrial park for that pure reason. They are the engines of your city. You want to attract businesses in there via infrastructure, via tax holidays, via whatever it takes to bring those people into your city, drive the revenue. So this is kind of my fundamental thing. And I think a lot of the questions on the process is it's confused right now because the BIA would already have its membership, its draft bylaws, and its proposed budget already in hand versus asking for the improvement, asking for the approval of the district and then going back. So I think it's a little, that's why I think there's a little bit of, how does this work? Because the bylaw isn't written point by point by point, right? It assumes that the people coming to council for approval already have that established. So thank you. Just some points.
Thank you, sir. Deputy Mayor, any comments? Councilor Duran?
Thank you, Worship. No, it was a really interesting dialogue, and I don't have any other questions. I think everyone addressed my questions for now.
Oh, I'm good, Mayor Brown, thank you.
Okay, good. So I want to thank Nick, and I want to thank Doug, and I want to thank Lauren Ledwell and the group from the PEI BioAlliance and the members that showed up, the owners and business entities that are in that park. It is an economic generator for the city and the island and the region. They all work hand in hand. So thank you for your work, and thank you for your service to our community. Motion to adjourn. Moved by Councilor Ramsey, second by Councilor Bernard. All in favor?
In favor.
Councilor Drawn?
In favor.